Hello, everyone. Welcome to DevJam Office Hours number 4. My name is Roger Kibbe. I'm a Senior Technical Evangelist for Viv Labs, or the division of Bixby.
You can start over.
We can just start on over. Edit that out.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to DevJam Office Hours number 4. My name is Roger Kibbe. I'm a Senior Technical Evangelist for Viv Labs. We're the division of Samsung that is really the brains behind Bixby. And if you'd like to continue the conversation, please follow me on Twitter at Roger Kibbe. All right, let's get started. So introduce myself. I already said I'm a senior developer evangelist. We're going to talk about how to win the contest today. And I should have some insight because we had a similar contest last year with the beta version of Bixby. And I entered when I was doing my independent consulting with Voice, and I actually was the winner. I'm the father of 2 daughters. They're teenagers, hence I have some gray hair. And I'm a UC Berkeley graduate, so I always like to say, go Bears. And I'd like to introduce my co-host, Jonathan Pan.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Pan, also a Bixby developer evangelist. I also won a hackathon, and I have 4 too many cats.
Awesome. All right. Let's jump right in. So one of the things that people ask is, what store sections should I consider building a capsule for? And the reason this is important is if you think about the contest and look at it, there's a 10K grand prize, there's 2 5K second prizes, there's 5 1K third prizes, but there's also 20 1K prizes for the best capsule in different store sections. So we did a little analysis to look at the store sections to find store sections that had 0 to 1 or 2 actually capsules for the contest. So these may be areas where you really want to focus on building your award-winning capsule. So communication, movies and TV, shopping, smart home, travel and transportation, and weather are the store categories that have the least number of entrants right now, in some cases 0 for the contest. Some others to consider, few more entries there, but still not overly crowded, are business and finance, food and drink, health and fitness, as long as you don't create an ambient sound capsule. We love ambient sound capsules. Go ahead and create one, but to win the contest, that's going to be tough competition there. Local, photography, and sports. Sports has a bunch of basketball capsules, which actually aren't eligible, but you might look at creating a sports capsule for a sport different than basketball. All right, and then we are going to cut away to the actual webinar. We had to re-record this section. So see you in the actual webinar recording.
That went along with that. I think you could do some really, really cool things with interactive fiction. Recipes and cooking info. So why I really like this, aside from the fact I myself am actually passionate about cooking, is it's obviously a place where your hands are busy. There are a fair number of capsules that are kind of these recipe kind of meta capsules, primarily built by kind of larger partners of ours. But, you're in the kitchen, cooks those are they have thousands of recipes. I will tell you, as somebody who likes to cook, I like looking at things that are really specialized and show like a particular cuisine. Or, if you're on a particular diet, gluten-free, well, that's diet, or your keto, or all these different diets that are popping up. Something that was focused around those diets, I think would be an awesome idea for a capsule. Or how about something that's cooking how-to or tips, right? So I'm doing something, I'm in the kitchen, I'm like, oh my God, how do I chiffonade, right? So hi, Bixby, ask chef tips, how do I chiffonade? So something like that could be an amazing capsule. Dictionaries or language learning. So we have 2 language-specific dictionaries in the marketplace so far. And then there's one kind of meta translation engine. But if you wanted to build something about a language to help, maybe you're learning a language or you are fluent in another language, that would be awesome. If there's an API that provides a dictionary, particularly a dictionary with pictures, that would be really awesome. I think you do something really, really great there. So definitely take a look there. Travel and local. Okay, this gets me super excited. If I was eligible, I'd probably do it in this area. because I think it's super cool for voice. Think about a voice-driven kind of guide to a city, right? So maybe you had a walking tour and you could walk around the city and use Bixby as your assistant to tell you what to do, or you're walking in some place and you could ask about it. And you could definitely use the geolocation features in there to understand where you are. Or a country guide that explained and understood a country. You know, maybe you grew up somewhere different and you have a lot of passion for that, or you've done a lot of travel. Lots of really interesting things you could do here around interactive travel guides. And I can definitely see myself personally walking around with my phone on vacation, and seeing voice is really a great way of interacting, right? I want to see and look around things. I don't want to spend my vacation with my head in my phone, unlike my 2 teen daughters who like to do that. Anyway, some more ideas for you guys. So smart home. So smart home, I will tell you, has one capsule. It's something we did internally. You know, Samsung owns SmartThings, which is a home automation platform. But to give you a couple ideas there, I don't know if any of you have worked with some of the open source home automation platforms. 2 of the more popular ones are OpenHab and Home Assistant. I've mucked a bit with Home Assistant. Pretty cool stuff. These are really classic things to put a voice front end on there. Both of those have open APIs, you know, so you could build a capsule around that, integration with those, and that would be a first in that category there. So definitely some cool things you could build there. Art. So think about something that shows a lot of pictures of some kind of art gallery and it's voice driven there. One of the things I think that makes, so I love art, but what makes art and pictures real is understanding the context and the history and how the painter, why they did that, or why the photographer did this and that. So maybe there's an art tour that you could build via capsule. That would be something amazing to me. What about getting wild? What about something that created art but was controlled by voice? I don't know what that would be, but that's where you get in that kind of fringy stuff that could be super, super cool. And the thing that Bixby being multimodal, you could use your voice as input, but then have something drawn on the screen, you know, maybe using SVG and a library of SVG to actually dynamically create something, art based upon your voice input. Wow, I think there's something cool there. I don't know what it is, but I would love to see it. Sports, so I mentioned, there's a lot of opportunity there because there's a bunch of capsules for each basketball team and a couple of sports scores things. But what about fantasy teams? So people get super, super passionate about fantasy sports. So is there something around fantasy sports management, fantasy sports information that you could build that would help that? What's really nice about sports is people are super passionate about it. And so if you build something that's sports-based, you definitely can get really a passionate user base there. So I really like sports apps and sports capsules as an idea. So movies and TV there's some really great capsules already in there, but there's a few, they're basically movie-based. So it gave me the idea, because what about something more about TV, right? Maybe something that has some schedule information or stream information or something about your favorite shows or shows. Maybe there's a TV recommendation engine that could be built. But I definitely think there's something along TV. Maybe there's something, a companion app. So I will tell you, I don't do this, but I'll go back to my daughters. I think using examples, they will not watch TV without their phone in front of them. And so that always makes me think of, wow, they want something more interactive about TV watching. So maybe there's something that's interactive that goes with watching TV that could be built as a capsule. And what would be super cool around that is, as I believe most of you know, and if you don't know, we are releasing Bixby on the TV. You can develop for it right now. It's be released in 2020. And we are the world's biggest TV manufacturer by a very wide margin. So there's a huge opportunity to build things around the TV. Probably not so much for right? We're going to judge the contest on what you build for mobile, but might be a stepping stone to building something really, really cool for TV. You can tell I'm excited about that option. Okay, so the final four. So something around shopping. So I was talking with my colleague here, Jonathan, about that this morning, around some kind of curated collection of shopping ideas or thoughts there that you could use Bixby for and use voice to interface with it. What about some kind of deal finder? You know, we got the biggest deals of the season coming up in a few weeks. Maybe there's something cool that could be built around that, and go find deals there. Legal. So we don't really have a lot in the marketplace. Do I know anything about legal? And yet legal and voice is a pretty hot space. So if you're a lawyer or a wannabe lawyer, which I have been at various times, something that gave quick legal advice or legal information. You know, sometimes there is legal information that people want right away or have in their fingertips. And that's a really interesting area for voice. That I've seen some compelling ideas, so I wanted to throw that out. Communications. So I mentioned actually a platform here, Twilio. So if you don't work with Twilio, that is an amazing platform. You can do things with texting and SMS and all kinds of communication things. Maybe there's something really interesting you could build with Bixby and Twilio integrated together. I don't know what that is, but I can imagine something very cool. Maybe some integration with some messaging platform, right? We all know the biggies, but there's a bunch of small ones out there. The state of the APIs there, from my knowledge, are all over the map. Don't know what's available or not, but definitely could be some really cool options there. What about religious capsules? So I know that we have a couple capsules that are Bible focused, but you know, that's great, but there's a lot of other religions in the world. So maybe a capsule that was focused on Islam or Judaism or any other religion would be interesting. Things that prayers or things that were helping the holy books for those religions. Those are pretty popular in voice, and you can see why, right? And so I think there's a lot of opportunity there. So that's my list of kind of ideas for capsules. Really, my whole thinking there was just to give you some thoughts and ideas there. We talked a little bit internally. If this spurs an idea, that's awesome. My guess is you guys have even better ideas, because we are firm believers that third-party developers are where the great ideas come from. But just wanted to spur some ideas or thoughts. If in the open Q&A you want to talk about an idea, feel free. Love to talk about it or brainstorm there. So feel free to do that. But jumping on the next part of my presentation, I want to talk about some technology considerations that would make a winning capsule. So if you're going to really go for that 10K winning capsule, I think there's some definite technologies you need to include. One, you want a great multimodal experience. You know, one of the things that really differentiates Bixby is the fact that almost all Bixby devices are going to be multimodal, and the phone is multimodal. So think about not only your voice experience, but your multimodal experience and combining those together. You definitely want to make it voice friendly. So something that works not only with the screen, but works with the voice. That would be a consideration, that it is useful in all different situations. Rich conversation. What I mean by that is you can handle a rich conversation with the user. I mean, there's a lot of capsules and basically voice applications that are very narrow in what they understand. And that may be useful for what you're building, but broadening that a little bit makes it a better capsule, a better experience. Because anybody who's built for voice knows that as soon as they launch it, people are going to ask a bunch of things they could never have imagined of their capsule. So thinking about making more of those work, kind of surprise and delight your users when they ask something that maybe doesn't work and all of a sudden it does work, would be awesome. We have rich personalization capabilities. I'm not going to go into those today, but there are definitely areas where personalization is really useful and valuable and can make your capsule a much better capsule. The way I look at it, the beauty of that is the more a user uses your capsule, the better the capsule gets, and personalization enables that. And then finally, definitely don't pay attention to our library capsules, right? A bunch of pre-built code that we built for you to make things easier and simpler to build, and then unlock some capabilities there. Don't ignore those. I will tell you that a lot of this is based upon the technology here and what I'm talking about. If you want a little deeper dive, I wrote an article a couple weeks ago for voicebot.ai, and I talk about this and where I think you could use some of these. So definitely reference that article, and we'll stick that on the Slack channel after this presentation. All right. So great capsules are kind of bigger picture thinking. So if somebody asks, what's the number one piece of advice you would give to people about building a winning, amazing voice experience? I'd say build something that you care about and you're passionate about. Okay? So, because if you build something you're passionate about, you're going to put the extra effort into it. I actually think, to my mind, that's the most important thing. Build something you're passionate about and you care about, you'll do a great job. If you're building something just because you think it'll win a contest and you're not passionate about it, I almost guarantee that the person who builds something they're passionate about is going to build something better. So build something that aligns with your passions. Make it fun. So something we're like, wow, that was a lot of fun. I want to do it again, right? I want to, it was a game. I want to play that game again, or this was a fun experience. It just kind of, that gut feeling, it's super fun. Or it's super useful. So what really would get, judges for any contest is they're like, man, I need this today. Can we get this out in the marketplace today? Like, I want to use this. I'm going to enable this. I'm going to use it every day, or I'm going to use it a lot. I never knew that I needed that, and now I definitely need that, or that really solves a problem I have. I think there's super ample opportunities for voice there. And I'll just tell you, not just for Bixby, the entire voice industry, we've just scratched the surface of the opportunities around making things easier and simpler and better when we interact with technology. And then finally, make sure, voice and screen, right? That's what a Bixby capsule is all about, voice enabled, and we have a screen. That's the best modality for that solution. So I will say that sometimes you see capsules where you're like, okay, I get it. It's working with voice. It's working with Bixby. But is this better than what I could build as a web experience, or better than a mobile experience? And the answer is no. Then maybe it's not the best voice experience. A winning capsule will be something where the voice experience is the very best way to interact with that. It's better than what I could do on the web, or faster, or quicker, or more efficient, or more fun, or a mobile app. It's better, faster, more efficient, or more fun than what I could do with a mobile app. Okay, we're just about there. I just wanted to throw out a few support links for you guys if you don't know those. If you have technical questions, we're going to push you over to Stack Overflow. Definitely tag your items on Stack Overflow with Bixby. And DevJam 2019 gives us a little more priority to fix that. We have a Slack channel that at bixbydevs.slack.com, and there's a sign-up link here. Unfortunately, I think the sign-up link just expired this morning. So you might have to give us a little bit of time to update that. But that is where we're going to share this presentation, the video, and any links, and as a place to ask and answer questions there. If I can have you guys manning the chat to put the links to those in the chat so everyone can save them, especially the sign up link, because we'll get it working later today. And finally, while you're working with Bixby, I am sure you're going to be like, man, I love this tool, but if only it could do X. Go to bixbydevelopers.com, and we have a place where you can make a feature request. You can also look at existing feature requests, and you can upvote them. And if you find any bugs, please go there and do that, bixbydevelopers.com. Those are also available within the IDE. As a matter of fact, if you find a bug, please do it within the IDE, because then it sends some diagnostic information with us, with your request that helps us debug things and understand where the challenges might be. And then finally, weekly office hours. We'll update those on Slack. I believe, and I'll have my colleagues scream and yell at me if I get this wrong, that the next office hours are going to be next Thursday at 11 a.m. And my colleague Jonathan is going to be running those, and he's going to be talking about really Bixby views and the UI and how to build a rich and winning UI there. And then after that, we'll have one on Thanksgiving week, and I'll just be open Q&A. And then the following week is really the last week, and you need to start getting your capsules in there. We'll have one early that week, and it'll just be open technology or any other questions Q&A there. All right. All right. So thank you. We're going to open this up to questions. So if you have any questions, if you haven't asked them, please put them in the chat. And if you want to follow me at Twitter at Roger Kibbe, we can continue the conversation. And let's get out of screen share here. Share. All right. So now you get my mug filling your screen. There. All right. All right. So Jonathan, you want to help?
Yeah, sure. Hey guys. So the first question from Simon: when will Samsung be sending the $300 of store credit to developers?
So I think we're going to start sending them later, starting next week. So I'd say within the next 2 weeks, expect to get it.
Okay, and then the next question.
Oh, and we'll probably be doing that in order of when the capsules were approved. So the first capsules are approved, we'll get the first $300 credits.
Okay, the next question by Kermit the Frog: what are the languages that currently exist with regards to the capsules that already exist?
Okay, well, I can tell you the languages that, so first off, for this contest, this is a contest for US English capsules, although if you can build a capsule that's multilingual, that's awesome. We have really great capabilities there. And I'm gonna cheat and look at Jonathan's screen. It is the capsules Bixby supports. Oh, well, hang on. The languages Bixby supports are Korean, US English, Mandarin Chinese, UK English, French, Spanish, Italian, and German. If you're asking about the dictionaries that were currently existing, there's one for Russian, there's one for Japanese, and then there's one called iTranslate, which is a general translator from many, many different languages.
And in terms of which of these capsules qualify for Bixby DevJam, none of them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So there you go. So that's an open area to build a capsule for.
Yeah. The next question by lowercase Fred: SVG would certainly be great, but are there any JavaScript libraries supported yet? Supporting some JS visualization libraries would be a huge boost.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with all the SVG libraries and what we support or not. I can tell you if it's an NPM and Node.js, then you should definitely do it with a remote endpoint and handle things that way. I would, for the contest, I would probably lean toward doing something remote endpoint and looking at NPM libraries that would support that. So you had a remote endpoint starting Node, and then you'd write a Bixby either directly to a remote endpoint, or you write a little JavaScript local code that calls that API for the remote endpoint. But if anybody has any ideas, feel free to share them on or knows better than I do. Please share them on the chat, or even better on the Slack, and we can talk about it there. And why don't you bring this up on the Slack, and maybe we can get some more information for you. But off the top of my head, I don't know any, but there might be some awesome ones.
All right. The next question by Mark Tucker: what is the slowdown of capsules being reviewed? I have a capsule that was resubmitted a month ago and still not released. Whenever there has been feedback, I may change, resubmit. It takes a long time before it's reviewed again. The last submit was 7 days ago and is still in review, and the feedback changes were minor.
Yeah, so we've actually been completely, apologies for that. We've been completely overwhelmed with the number of submissions. We haven't built our review team up to the size that it needs to be. So this contest has overwhelmed us there. So we're going through as quick as possible. And I don't think, if yours is 7 days or older, then it's high on the queue to get completed there. I don't think there's, we're just looking at this morning, there's only a couple there. So unfortunately, Mamie, you fell into that, but look for a resolution really quickly there. I don't know what to tell you guys. We're building up our team. We just hired a bunch of people to help with this, but it is going to take a little bit of time to clear this backlog and get down to a reasonable turnaround time. I'd love to see it in 2 to 3 day time frame. Sounds appropriate to me.
Okay. So the next question by Fred: does the store credits stack so that I could use them for one purchase? Also, will they be sent in time for Black Friday?
I don't know. Yes, they stack. So yes, they will stack. So if you were approved early and things, I would think you'd get it in time for Black Friday. We'll just have to send out and see how quickly we can get things out there. So I don't want to say yes because I don't want to make any promises, but I know we're going to start next week distributing things. So that's a week and a half ahead of time, and I get the urgency and the need, and we'll pass that along and try to get those out as soon as possible.
Okay, so excuse me. The next question by Mark Tucker: how many capsules have been submitted and also certified since the contest began? And I can give a quick answer. About 100 capsules have been certified. So yeah, that's it.
About 100 certified.
About 100 submitted and certified. Roughly.
Okay, so about 100. So there's a bunch. So there's 250. So there's a bunch more room to submit capsules, and obviously there's time for the to spend your energy on the big picture capsule that you want to win the 10K prize too.
Yeah. And let's see, Fred here provided some feedback. The ideal review process is to fire up a web server and get a 200 code back from the browser. Really needs to be automatic and without an organizational gatekeeper.
Okay. Don't fully understand that comment, but okay, yeah. Perfect.
Okay, so next question by Kermit the Frog. Let's say I were to create a Pokemon capsule. I would likely name it something like the unofficial Pokemon quiz. Should we include unofficial in the dispatch name or in the alias?
Dispatch name. Yeah, you definitely want. Yeah, so you want to do it right. I mean, so if you're going to use brand names, you need to clarify that they're not the official brand name, and use something like unofficial. Really very similar to what you have to do if you've ever built for Alexa, right? You can build something that it uses a brand name if you make it very clear that it does not. You do not represent the brand. All right.
Okay. And the next question by Smart Voice: will we get any help in the certification process? I think the approval process.
Okay, you mean the approval process? Any help? I'm not sure I understand the question. So, I mean, you get pretty deep we pretty pride ourselves in the feedback we give, and it's deep and gives you a lot of information, not only about what you need to get it approved, but around some suggestions for improving your capsule. So maybe you can clarify what your question was.
And actually, yeah, there was a second part to the question. Priority support to get Capsule certified for DevJam.
Yeah, so if you should tag your submissions, when you tag, and there's that notes, this is on the DevJam site, pound DevJam, and then that will give you priority.
Okay, so next question by Z. I want to make a language application. What would you like to see from a judging stance?
That's an impossible question to answer. Something that works really well, that's compelling, that's useful. I mean, so if it's a language application, then you're getting into the useful kind of category. And so something where I would look at it and go, wow, if I was learning language X, whatever language it is, this would be super, super helpful for me. Or I don't know what exactly application you're thinking about, but that sounds more like not on the fun side, but on the useful side. And I'll just reiterate, with the useful things that are great are things where you look at it and you're like, I gotta have it, right? Or I can imagine people who gotta have it, right? It was about learning Spanish. And I was like, oh my God, like I know someone who's learning Spanish, they gotta use this capsule. That would be my biggest piece of advice there.
And I just want to say real quick, thank you, Daniel Mittendorf, for helping answer some of the questions in chat. The next question by Jenny Stenhouse. Is this going to be posted to the chat like the previous one?
Yeah, everything, nothing different. Everything, this video will be posted to Slack. And then any follow-on questions that you have, you can post and give them on Slack. Like I said, I may make suggestions sometimes to add them to the Slack conversation. I think the first question, one of the first ones, was SVG libraries. And like I said, I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head. And I'll bet you there's somebody out here listening that knows that way, way better than I do. So please contribute, and then I can ask internally. So yeah, keep the conversation going on Slack.
So Ralph Eggert's comment, thanks, Daniel. So we roughly need 2 weeks for any new ideas from now on. So really that's about like the submission deadline and when you should submit.
Yeah, I mean, really, guys, you should be submitting no later than what is it? The deadline is the 9th, a week ahead of time. So that gives you a couple of weeks, right, including Thanksgiving week, to practice and get your capsule going. And like I said, we will have those kind of technology-only office hours, one on Thanksgiving week. I think we're talking about Tuesday. And then probably Monday of the following week is kind of like the last hurrah thing there. So please take advantage of those. And then please take advantage, take advantage of Slack into interim or any of the other options we have.
All right. The next question by Kermit the Frog. Does in-capsule purchasing exist for digital goods?
It does not. So we call that premium capsules. Those we would love to have out now. We'll have them out as soon as we can, but that's not going to be part of the contest.
Okay. The next question by Rajiv GM. Bixby is not good at recognizing numbers over 1 million as well as numbers like 2.5. When is this going to be sorted out?
I don't. Can you put your specific challenges in either a support request or on Slack, and we can see what we can do to support you. Sometimes there's things in training that you can do that would help it recognize things. I can't answer your specific question because I'd have to get specific examples of what's not working there, and we can definitely help you with that. Be happy to help you with that. So put it on Slack, open a support request. Actually, I'd prefer it on, actually Stack Overflow would be the perfect place for something like that. I need to understand, I'm not getting it to understand these numbers. We get our team to understand. Often it's how you do the training, and sometimes there's library capsules that help a lot with that. So please do that.
Okay, the next question from Jeff Ski Kinsey. When should we expect cool libraries, like the ability to call for something like press home key?
Okay, if you have a feature request, that sounds like a feature request option. So go to bixbydevelopers.com, make a feature request, and pass it on to your friends to upvote it, right? So I don't know, whatever that feature is, kind of articulate how you think it would work, and then get upvotes there, and then we could do some things there. You know, I mean, we're definitely growing and super rapidly evolving platform. So this is, I will say, because of that, and because we're relatively small right now, this is a really great time. This is the time to make those feature requests, because when you get big and there's a lot of things going on, there gets to be a lot of noise. There's not a lot of noise right now, so please go do it right now. and let's see what we can do. And if maybe it's something we support. I don't know what suppressing the home key. I mean, that exits Bixby, it exits any Android app, but I'd be curious what you want to do there. So please articulate it in your feature request there, or you could ask us on Slack, but I can tell you pressing the home key, I mean, this exits out of any Android experience. So I don't know, but maybe there's something there. So please articulate.
Okay. So the next question from Jenny Stenhouse. Sorry, I joined late. Did you cover which store sections are lacking in capsules currently?
I did, and things like that. Let me go take a peek at my own presentation here. Just to remind you guys, oh yeah, I could share this. Why don't I just share this? Hang on. And all right, and here we'll go full screen of that. All right, yeah. These communication, movies and TV, shopping, smart home, travel and transportation, and weather are the ones that are most in the need of capsules. I have some others to consider below those. And we'll definitely share this deck on Slack. I'll get that out this afternoon so you can take a look at that. But yeah, like I said, this is a great place to focus on. They're just less competitive store sections. So cool stuff you could do. All right. All right, let's stop the share. Stop share. All right.
Okay. The next question by Elar Nanchi. When can we start to see analytics or a dashboard on how the capsules are performing?
I wish I had a much better answer to that because I think we need that yesterday. So that's my personal opinion, but I'd make a lot of noise about that. But yeah, so we are definitely working on that. I will tell you if you want that right now, if you have used Dashbot, so it's a third-party analytics tool, they have a pretty simple Bixby integration. We will, let's ping us on Slack and I'll send you information or a link to that, but that's how people have been doing it right now. But that's a sorely lacking part of our platform.
Okay, so Adu Pern has a pretty extensive question about audio player on the TV and how the TV doesn't support the audio player. And he's asking, is there a current way to implement a shim for libraries that don't support certain targets just as a temporary pass-through?
I can't answer this question on that. Please put that question on actually, I think I saw that question on Slack. We just need to get an answer there. I think some of these new targets just aren't fully supported. So let's find that question on if I remember. I think I saw that in one of the Slack channels, and we are overdue in answering that. So we'll get back to you on that. But yeah, I mean, the idea, I will say that conceptually the idea is we want to support as many of those and as many of those different platforms targets as possible. I can't say why it's not working for TV. So we'll have to check into that and give you a better answer.
And just to be clear, if you're building a capsule just for TV, it has to be mobile devices to be eligible for data.
Yeah, so a TV capsule is not so the contest is for, so this is a great general question and we need to answer it. To avoid any confusion, the contest will be 100% judged upon the mobile presence.
Yeah, so it has to work for mobile. So Z, thanks for answering the question. I know it's quite broad. You're welcome, no problem. Happy to answer these questions. And Jenny posted the link to Dashbot. Thank you, Jenny, very helpful. And let's see, okay. Are you guys planning to introduce more templates with more UI elements?
Heck yes. So those are the starter templates. If you have an idea for a template, go ahead, create a feature request for it. We think there's a bunch of things we can do with templates, but we'd also love to hear what you guys would like to see with templates there. So, we just introduced that a couple weeks ago, and I'd love nothing more than hear from the community to say, you know what, if you could create template X or Y, it would, it'd be really awesome. So please don't be quiet about that. Okay,
so the next question from Dental Hackathon. If If we develop a capsule for TV, how can we test then?
So you can test in the simulator. So the simulator, if you turn the target, when you go to the Bixby simulator and there's a pull down for target, you change it to TV, and then the simulator will show you what it's going to look like on the TV. I will tell you the simulator is probably 99% correct. When the TV comes out, then you definitely want to, ideally you always check on the device that you're supporting. But you can fully build out a capsule for TV right now and use the simulator and have a high degree of probability that whatever you build is going to look just like it on the TV. But when we release that and that, I always tell everyone you should always test on device.
Yeah.
As your end test, but you can do most of your development, and we do. So our internal testing, we always test on device as part of the certification process.
And just to be clear, the marketplace for anything except for mobile is not available yet.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, next question from Jenny Stenhouse. Is there a good place to suggest documentation changes?
Yeah. So you could either support that. If it's something simple, do Slack, or if there's something. So I guess what the question on the change is: it broken documentation, just wrong? There's some things that are just wrong in the documentation, and things like that. That feels like a bug. But otherwise, why don't you articulate that on Slack or a feature request? And we'd love to do that. I mean, the docs team, they really like to hear where you guys think the docs could be better. That's an evolving. It's like the never win situation because docs are never perfect. But I'd love to hear where you would love to see the docs expanded. So that's great. Yeah. Another one. Don't be quiet about that.
Another question from Fred. Would it give me a leg up with the judges if I use a newly announced features like the share via library and default actions?
I'd say yes and no. So I think it's useful to use new features, but why I say no is sometimes I see new features used because they're a new feature, not because they work well with what your voice experience is. So absolutely, we love to see things that highlight new features, but I absolutely like to see capsules that use features that make sense for that capsule. So go for it if it makes sense, but no way you can build a winner that doesn't use any new features. It's not a requirement.
Next question from Dental Hackathon. Can we develop a capsule for a watch wearable?
Yeah, absolutely. So you just add it in capsule.bxb. There is a target key, and under the target you would add watch, and then you could see the watch in the simulator if you chose that as the target, and you'd see it simulating the watch. So that's available today, just like TV is available today too. And you do the same thing, TV, and then the smart appliance is there. You go into capsule.bxb, there's a target, you add that target there, and then that says, hey, this capsule is now available for these different targets. And then that opens up the simulator for you to go in the simulator and select the target, and you can see your capsule and switch between any of those targets.
And just to reiterate on the earlier point, if it's watch only, it doesn't qualify for DevJam.
Yep.
So the next question, do I need a Samsung mobile phone to test a capsule on device?
On device, you absolutely do need a Samsung mobile phone. So, I mean, you can test in the simulator. And like I said, you're probably 98, 99% right there. But optionally, yeah, you need a Samsung mobile device. I mean, to be frank, part of this platform is to sell our hardware.
Right. Okay. So does the next question from Mark Tucker, does Viv Share Via support sending a text message or making a call for the phone from your capsule?
I have no idea. I'm going to ask Jonathan. Yeah. He's used it. I haven't used that library yet.
I can answer this. That's not what the Share Via capsule does. What the Share Via capsule does is it brings up the list of default Android share actions. So for example, it'll bring up who would you like to text this to, or to email it to, or copy the URL or whatever. So it doesn't actually send a text message or make a call. but it fills in your text message. Let's say you were to select your text messaging app. So yeah,
So it's a native Android share capability, which works that way, like in any app. Is you click on something, you click on it,
yeah,
and then it fills in the data, and then you'd actually use your text client or your Slack or Facebook or Twitter or whatever it shares to actually make the share.
yeah,
there. Yep, yeah, okay. So it's native Android functionality
yeah.
there. If that hopefully that helps.
Yeah. So the next question from Rajiv GM is, I don't see the TV option in the simulator. How can I find it?
My guess is you didn't put a tag in a target in your capsule.bxb that said TV. Add that and you'll see it in there. It's in the, there's a pull down for target. See when you add it to the capsule.bxb, by default, when you just go create one or you create something using the new templates, just mobile is enabled. You can add it, and then it'll be available in the simulator. If that doesn't make sense or you need more help with that, Slack us, we can send you a screenshot.
And the next question from Fred, will there be a TV target focus competition in the future?
That's an awesome idea. I love it. Can't say yes or no, but I'll just say that's a super cool idea.
Yeah. So then from Dental Hackathon, what about developing a capsule for augmented reality visors?
Cool. I don't know how that all worked, but I mean, yeah. I mean, I always think of AR and VR and voice as really close cousins, right? Because the logical way if I'm using AR and VR to navigate is voice, or you give commands there. So I think voice combined with AR and VR has a bright future. And if you could do something cool there, that would definitely be innovative and unique. So yeah, I'd say go for it.
All right. And then let's see, Morrison Chang responded to Rajiv, and thank you guys to people who've been answering questions in the chat. I'd love to see the increase in participation. It's awesome. And finally, Fred also said share via is great.
Well, we like to think it too, and things like that. So thanks for the compliment. Okay, so let's see. We're going to do the raffle in a few minutes, but we have probably 3 or 4 minutes for any more questions. So, this isn't the beginning. This is, well, like I said, we'll have another webinar next week, and you can also continue this conversation on the Slack channel. So if we didn't get to answer your question, or in some cases, quite frankly, I didn't know the answer to your question, there's a couple deeper technology questions that I'd have to go look in the docs to find the answers to. We'll help answer those on Slack for you.
Okay, so I'm not sure if I believe this was a question earlier I might have missed. Will there be a phone call library capsule?
Yeah, so yes, I hope so, and things like that. There's some kind of privacy considerations that I don't want to go into that goes around there, but the idea is, yes, you should be able to link and create a phone call from a capsule, but that will probably definitely be something that's opt-in, because you can think of, it's a cool feature that you can think of people doing some mischief with. So we have to balance the kind of mischief with the capability there. But I would love to see it with the right privacy and kind of user permissions controls around that. And
Jenny Steinhaus mentioned how you can use Twilio to do what you're after, and yes.
Oh yeah. So you could integrate with Twilio and actually build your own. That would be just calling via IP calls, right? Via Twilio and things. I don't know how that all work with Bixby. I know I've worked with Twilio in a past life, like a web front end of Twilio. I love Twilio. So they're one of my favorite startups around here because they're just an API that lets you do all kinds of cool stuff. So yeah, great idea.
Okay, I think that's all the questions for now. Does anyone have any more questions for the last couple of minutes before we do the raffle? Okay, right here. So Simon asks, if the capsule uses 2 store sections, then will my capsule be considered for both categories?
It can only win in one, but it'll be considered in both. So you can't win, one capsule can't win 2 prizes, but one capsule can be eligible in 2 categories. I will tell you, we're pretty strict about what is allowed in more than one category. And that's not just for this contest. That's just because we don't want to confuse that. There are capsules that absolutely fit across more than one category there. But in the review process, we take a pretty careful look at what category you selected. And if you selected 2, you get a little more due diligence, but absolutely possible.
All right. So I guess, David, would you like to do the honors and do the raffle now, or?
Yeah. So we want to switch it over to David O, my colleague, who is he is biting at the bit to do this. He loves this stuff. So I'm going to switch the camera over to David and things like that. And how many entries do we have?
So that qualifies for this raffle specifically. We have 46.
46 entries.
All right. Hey, Bixby World. Thank you so much for participating in today's webinar. Hope you learned a ton of great stuff from Roger. And we're going to begin the raffle. So we have 46 submissions. And so I'm going to be able to ask Bixby here to pick out a number between 1 to 46. Each one of those submissions have already been tagged with a number. And then we'll be able to read out the winners after the number is chosen. There's a lot of great submissions, but however, as you can know, there's 46 submissions. And so there's tons of opportunity for a lot of you that are on this webinar to submit not only 1 capsule, but you're allowed to submit up to 4. So good luck to all of you. So I'll just go ahead and ask Bixby. Hey, Bixby, pick a number between 1 and 46.
Of course it didn't work. We're doing it
No,
live.
my volume.
23.
So the number is 23.
23. That is Adrian Rich, who made Healing Morning.
Oh, awesome.
Yes.
Hey, congrats, Adrian from Healing Morning. All right, fantastic. All right, so that's great. We had one raffle drawing for this week. So please submit now so you can qualify for the raffle for next week. But that's $500.
2 weeks.
In 2 weeks, sorry.
Yeah, we're behind. The raffles are always a week behind.
Raffle number 2. Now, okay, Jeff is telling me, Jeff Wong, who you may know, our partner engineer, who's probably helped a lot of you, just told me, hey, we got 2 raffles. So we're going to spin one more time. All right. So let's go ahead and do this again. Hey, Bixby, pick a number between 1 and 46.
Running some quick calculations. Drum roll, please. Your number is 28.
All right, 28. And the winner for 28 is?
Winner for 28 is Nick Schwab.
Oh, Nick.
Bird Sound.
Sounds. Goes to Nick, $500. Congratulations to both of you. All right, well, fantastic. Thank you so much, Bixby World, and we will see you next week.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. We can continue the conversation on Slack, and we'll take a look at any last questions you guys ask. But thank you so much. Man, submit some amazing capsule that absolutely blows our socks off. I really, really love seeing what you guys have submitted. So bring it. All right, take it easy.